cousin Todd with Mama's Comedy Show. And with me is cousin Jason.
Hello.
And cousin Kenny.
Hi. I've given up trying to sound
The funny thing is let's try it again. It's cousin Jason.
Ahoy, hoy.
And cousin Kenny.
Well, hello.
Yeah. It just
See,
sounds...
yeah, every time I try to change it, it just sounds worse.
Yeah. I mean, that was more creepy, I guess.
See?
Because it was almost like a formal invitation into the van.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, please.
Hello.
Have you seen this puppy?
I have some candy. There's so much here. I couldn't possibly eat it all.
Would you care for a whatchamacallit?
What's that?
Come in and find out.
Did you we used to introduce Ed as a pedophile in the show.
And you never called him just Edophile? I'm disappointed.
No, we used to do this thing in the Mama's actual show where we would pimp the other people. Like I would say, and here's a guy that sucks at telling jokes, cousin Tony. And then he would come up and screw up a joke, like intentionally. Mm-hmm. And then Tony would introduce Ed, but our running gag with Ed was that he was Uncle Eddie. He was the only one that wasn't a cousin, which is why we changed it so that it was uniform, that we're all cousins. Mm-hmm. But it was always some variation of him being creepy, or like he taught me how to wrestle, and like how he could pin me down for 20 minutes, and he gives long hugs, and then Ed would come just walking onto the stage slowly with his arms out wide for Tony, and he would just give him a big hug that was just slightly too long. And you just see Tony like pat him on the back, and then he'd stop, and then pat him on the back, and then his arms just go down, and Ed is just smelling his hair, and it was just... That was before we knew... That was before... We weren't woke then. That was before we knew that pedophilia was wrong.
Mm-hmm. That was before...
That was before, yeah.
Yeah, that was back when it was okay.
But
now...
It was a different time then.
It was never okay.
2015.
It was just tolerated.
Yeah. Well, let's see. When was that? What are we in? 2019? So 2009?
So this was just like before people started getting caught.
Yeah.
That's basically what it boils down to. It's like, we can get away with this until then.
It was before those shitty kids started speaking up.
Uh-huh.
I think we can all agree that that's really when things went downhill for pedophiles.
See, children should be seen enough.
Well, I mean, it comes down to social media.
That's a good old-fashioned
That would almost be like the most uncomfortable improv game is you give a divisive topic or something that's even mundane, and you have to, no matter what, defend it. I think it's probably best if someone's like, Hitler, and you're like, all right, well, he was an organized person. He really knew how to follow through with things. Mm-hmm. But like, just sit there and no matter what, kind of like the Trump supporters do now. Like, no matter what shitty thing comes out, they're
it's too deep. It's far too deep.
Yeah. So
well, he's the president. He's got a lot on his plate, a lot on his mind.
My favorite is it'll be like, hey, did you see Trump said X on camera, and then 10 minutes later on the same camera he said, I never said X. Mm-hmm. And then my favorite thing that people say is, you guys don't understand. He's playing 3D chess. Like he's so smart. He's doing things to fuck you up.
Is this one of those situations, though, where he's like, I never said the N-word. What he actually said was...
Yeah. Beep. How's your week, guys?
Good, busy. I've been helping a very good friend of mine with his wedding. He got married yesterday.
Oh, I saw the pictures.
Mm-hmm. I officiated.
Did you?
Yeah.
Nice.
Are you ordained?
No, none of it was official. No, they did a similar thing to me and Megan. They got married like a year ago legally. Oh. They did it through the mail. I didn't even know you could do that now. I mean, I've heard of mail order brides, obviously. Russians. But like they got a form, they got it filled out. They got a friend of theirs who was ordained to sign it. They sent it in the mail. That was it. They got a confirmation they were married.
They didn't go to the courthouse?
Nope, didn't have to.
Oh,
and then
that's crazy.
And then they had the ceremony yesterday, which was batshit crazy.
What was it? What happened?
Well, so they had basically every internet meme of every wedding that you've ever seen.
Yeah.
So they had like a dance down the aisle from the processional. They had the groom come down to what essentially was like WWE wrestler music.
Yeah.
They had a choreographed first dance. They had a bit where there was a ring bear, not a ring bearer, a ring bear.
Right.
It was a friend of theirs dressed as a bear, carrying the rings, who was then punched out by the groom.
Right.
He was a scary bear.
Yeah.
They had, to start everything off, they had a purge announcement to tell everyone everything would be fine and everyone could get weird, which was then followed by a Star Wars scroll.
Yeah.
Most of this happened way before I even started speaking. They had a unbreakable vow from Harry Potter. They also had an official document based on the signing of the Declaration of Independence.
Mm-hmm.
They had 2 readers.
That's smart.
One of which was a soliloquy made up of lines from popular culture.
Right. It's smart.
There's a lot.
It's smart to have your wedding document be like the Bill of Rights or something like that, because you, for the rest of your marriage, can debate the meanings of those things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it's real vague.
Yeah, so what like, by well-armed, well-organized, what they actually meant was well-armed.
Yeah.
Yeah, things like that.
So before my girlfriend and I moved in with each other, her parents wanted to do, like, because they're Muslim, they don't know how to fly planes, so they're okay.
Well, you only need to be able to take off.
But they wanted to do like a reading from the Quran for them. And we did it, and her father was reading from it, and he was reading the American translation, and in it he said, and you need, as the man, to be able to take care of your wives. And I said,
I think we see where this is going.
I said, noted.
That means a different thing in Boston.
So, I have an idea for a wedding, but I don't want to say it because it's crazier.
You're going to jinx it, too.
Yeah.
Is it a jinx thing, or you just don't want someone to take your idea? Or
it's a really good idea.
It's a really good idea.
Yeah.
And now we want to hear it.
No. The what?
Kinnaher, it's a Jewish word for don't jinx it. Like,
Kinnaher is a what?
A Jewish word for
Did I say it right? Kinnaher? Hey, guys, I'm talking Jew talk.
This is Jew Talk with Todd Ferrin.
Mazel tov. Look at me. I can't stop. So speaking of offensive shows, I went to Vegas and I saw the show Absinthe. My God, fucking amazing! It is the dirtiest show I've ever seen. And coming from Mama's, where I think Mama's is a hard R-rated show, this was like the charm of their show, to the point where it was so explicit, and just the host, the MC, that if he pulled back at all, it would have ruined the show, and you would have just said that's a dirty show. Mm-hmm. But it's like when a movie uses gore to comedic effect. Mm-hmm. If you pull back, it's just gory. But if you if you prick your finger and a gallon of blood squirts out, it's hilarious. This dude, like right off the bat, like I was really lucky and I had really great seats. Like I was right up on the stage. It's a Spiegel tent, and this Indian guy and his girlfriend and clearly her mother walk in late, and as they're walking in, the host goes, "Hey, what are you guys? Are you sucking this guy's dick in the parking lot?" To the old ladies, like, "Oh, you like him old? Look at this broad. I bet she just guzzled your cum." And he did.
Wow.
Like right there is a little uncomfortable when I said that here, but imagine that bit going on for another 3 minutes. It was brilliant. I mean, he was dancing around the room, just landing on every offensive thing he could. Like I said, it was in a Spiegel tent, which is a German word, so they had a lot to say about Germans early on in the show. But yeah, it's in Vegas. If you ever go out there, I highly recommend. It's expensive, but
what isn't?
Right.
It's Vegas. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was like $125 a ticket.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. So because of that, I'm raising the ticket price to Mama's to $1.25 so that we can. No, but yeah, no, it was amazing, and it was one of those things where watching the show, we go R-rated here, but I feel like we gauge the audience pretty well.
Yeah, and there's like I say this a lot. It's like there's a contract. Like
With the audience.
The audience knows that when they come in here, they're probably going to hear some things that they definitely wouldn't say,
right,
or hear out on the street. But they're not going to be different people when they leave,
right.
And like the people we play on stage aren't the people that we are in real life,
right.
It's you agree to that, and we agree to that this isn't who we are.
Yeah.
Let's just move on.
You're not even British.
Yeah, I'm really not. This is a terrible British accent.
But it was really fantastic to see these two characters. The rest of the show consisted of specialty acts from around the world. They were standard. They were good. They were standard acts. It was really the host and his sister just carefree with what they were dropping on the audience. And it really was just there are things on this stage here, as offensive as we can get on this stage, there are things where I go, ooh, can't do that. Like, can't cross that line. To see them just kind of, boldly go there and not flinch. And I think that was part of it. If they flinched or if they acknowledged that what they were saying was terrible, then we as the audience go, ooh, that's terrible. Mm-hmm. Yeah. In Duty Humor, we were lucky. I don't think we were nervous that they weren't going to see what we were doing as satire. And that's a big thing. I mean, what was it? Jonathan Swift, when he wrote A Modest Proposal, which was telling the English to eat Irish babies. Like, that was his solution to the homeless problem, was Irish immigrants can come in, the pregnant women, they can sell their children for food. It was satire, and it was published in the paper, but people didn't know how to handle it. So they were like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy telling us to I'm sorry, what the fuck is wrong with this guy telling us to eat bloody children? Was that good? Was that it?
Perfect.
All right. I assume that's what you all say anytime you leave the room. Yeah. But we were worried because we were doing some really offensive things. Like our first show, each show had kind of a this is the theme. And the theme for the first show was corporate profit off of tragedy. And this was right after 9/11. And so our thing was we had a corporate sponsor. And it was the corporate sponsor was opening up a new theme park called Auschwitzland. Now, that being said, we couldn't acknowledge that we knew what Auschwitz was. We had to be like, well, we're public school educated. They don't talk about that shit. So, yeah, this sounds like a lot of fun. And we had this big cartoon costume character Hitler in the commercial, and like it was like the try our newest rides, the final solution, and it was just like this really crazy thing because we as characters don't acknowledge what it is. Like we're dumb. We clearly acknowledge the school system fails when it comes to referencing the actual atrocities of the Holocaust. Like it's a chapter in a book.
There's a really good part of a very good book called The Naked Jape by Jimmy Carr. I don't know if you know, he's an English stand-up comedian, and his writing partner. He's written a book called The Naked Jape, and it's basically about comedy. And there's a part in it which is Jimmy Carr tells misogynistic, homophobic jokes, racially insensitive jokes, but the thing is, it's not people aren't laughing at him because he's a homophobe, because he's not, and they're not laughing at him because he's a misogynist, because he's not. They're laughing because they're thinking this guy isn't going to get laid saying things like that. Right. He's the victim of all these jokes because he's an idiot. Yeah. And doesn't realize that
And that's what I hope here. I hope when Francisco's here and I do a build that wall bit or something like that, I don't think anyone in the audience believes that I have hatred for him, that he's in this country. Yeah. You know what I mean? I think they're in on the joke.
Yeah, because
and that's why I get away with it.
On the joke.
Right. And that's why I get away with it. And that was the thing with Duty Humor. Once we discover, our tech comes in and he's like, hey, guys, I found this history book. And we're like, oh, what's that? And he's like, it talks about something called the Holocaust. And I went, well, what does Hitler have to do with Star Trek? And then once we read the book, we start beating the shit out of this costume character Hitler. And it's weird, like it gets real funky. Like his head splits open and bubblegum comes out, and we're like, "Wait a minute!" And we have like this whole Scooby-Doo ending where we pull off his head. But yeah, that is as long as you are acknowledging that you're not making fun of something, like I could do a redneck character and just sit here and go, "You fucking queers kissing each other, blue, 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 blue," and as long as people know I'm not doing that, I'm making fun of the redneck who is saying that you get away with a lot. But again, going back to this absinthe show, it was like they just didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
And it was so brilliant. I don't know if I would be comfortable doing that, but it looked like fun. Looked like a lot of fun. So yeah, that was Vegas.
When did you go to Vegas?
This past week.
Really? Oh,
yeah.
Damn! You are traveling all over the place.
Like a mofo.
I know.
And we have our cousin Beth here in the audience who just beat cancer.
Yeah, beat it like a bitch.
She cured cancer?
Yep.
Nice.
That's amazing. You heard it here first, guys.
She's
come to
keeping
Orlando.
it to herself.
Come to Orlando. We found the cure.
We have just call 1983-363-1985 and tell them you want the cure. We're just gonna get a message from Sluice going, "Did you guys tell people we have the cure for cancer?"
Yes, we did.
Well, the second person got cured of HIV.
I heard about that. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah. There's a joke that I heard that said, "What do you do when your girlfriend tells you that she has HIV?"
What?
First of all, act surprised. No, but I mean, going back to like what we were saying before about those we did those jokes before we knew pedophilia was wrong.
Yeah.
It is kind of weird to go back in the history of comedy and look at the things that were acceptable on stage. Was it Breakfast at Tiffany's, the Chinese character? Was it Breakfast at Tiffany's with the Chinese character? Yes. Where he's got the big the buck teeth and the taped eyes and that was it was completely acceptable at the time. And you have to think of things like I'll admit, like, there are things that when I was younger that were socially acceptable to joke about with your friends, and but then there comes a point where you realize, oh, you know what, that was...
Yeah, we as a society have decided that's not funny anymore. And that's basically what it boils down to. Is like, is it funny? And things that we'll say in this show will in 10 years not be funny. There are things that we'll say in this show that won't be funny today.
Yeah, I'm very forward thinking. That's why I'm doing the pedophilia jokes.
Sure they're not funny now.
Look at the movie Blazing Saddles, one of the greatest comedies
still
ever.
think Blazing
but to this
Saddles.
day, that movie could not be made. It's a great movie.
If you leave the stuff in it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and edit.
But
That's
it's
a
a
perfect
movie that
example
could
of
not
it,
be
though.
made today.
If you edited Blazing Saddles down, it's not as funny of a movie.
No.
Have you guys seen Blazing Saddles? You're youngins.
Rent it and watch the.
All right, Beth just showed you her age when she said rent it.
Yeah. Go down to Blockbuster.
You can rent things on Amazon.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's very funny. Also, it was co-written by
Richard Pryor.
Which he's my favorite of all time.
Yeah.
He wasn't like the main black guy who was doing a shit ton of drugs, and they didn't trust him to be the character.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
Originally, he was supposed
blew
to
up
play
his whole
it,
face.
but he was doing so much drugs they couldn't trust
Well,
him.
yeah, Richard Pryor set himself on fire. But again, going to that brave spot in comedy, Richard Pryor set himself on fire when he was freebasing, and then when he came out and did his next stand-up special, he said, "I heard all the jokes," and he lit a match and said, "Look, it's Richard Pryor running down the road," and like he at one point he was so high in a fight with his wife, he pulled out a gun and shot their car, and he went on stage and said, "She said I'm leaving you," and I said, "Not in this car." And but like he took those painful moments and was able to transform it into something.
Well, this was what happened with like, or rather didn't happen with Louis C.K. Like he was very vocal about the fact that he would go deeper and deeper into his own like life and his own past and stuff to find his comedy, ditch his special, start fresh, go deeper and deeper and deeper.
Yep.
Then all the shit came out that did, and rather than take that and be like, you know what,
I've learned my lesson.
I'm gonna make myself the victim of this and turn that into comedy. When he came out and did the stand-up that he was doing, it was very like the victims are elsewhere.
Yeah.
It was as much that it was the most cowardly thing he could have done.
You know what? I agree, and I think my new form of comedy is I'm just going to say really and do really offensive things, and then immediately follow up with an apology, and I've learned from it.
Yeah.
And then, you know what? I made fun of gay people, and I'm really sorry. That was the old me, and I think I've grown as a person. But Asians be talking like tong tong tong. All right, we should wrap it up because we have a show. Jason, what did you learn tonight?
I learned you can rent off of Amazon.
You can. It's amazing.
Kenny, what did you learn tonight?
That apparently pedophilia is wrong.
Who
knew?
I'm glad we could wake you.
Thank you.
And I learned something tonight too. That Asians be talking like ding dong dong. You know what? I learned my lesson, and
And you're a better person.
I'm ready to move on. All right, we're Mama's Comedy Show. We're here every night, or not every night. Jesus Christ, we're online every night. If you can doubt, you can listen to us over and over.
Whenever you like.
But no, we're here every Friday night, 10 p.m. Call 473-631-1985. Find me on Twitter at Todders, Snapchat, Instagram, and Xbox Live. Duty Poo Poo. Jason, where are you?
I'm on Twitter at Jason Blackwater. I never post there, so don't go there. I'm on Instagram at J Blackwater, the letter J followed by Blackwater. I post occasionally pictures of my cat.
Pussy pics.
all day, pussy pics all day long. And I have a website, jasonblackwater.co.uk, so long as I pay my domain name within the next week.
All right. Kenny?
You can find me at KJardine27 on Instagram and Facebook. You can find me at KennethJardine2 on Twitter.
Who's the other one?
The other one?
The other Kenneth Jardine. The first one.
The first one. No, I tried to.
That guy
told me
ended
to
up
fuck
dead.
off.
All right.
He told me to fuck off. I had to go to number 2.
Poop.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.